Hello everyone, I know what you love the work process. I don't show myself, no one needs that. I know what you love to watch how my hands work and already making excellent progress with your own embroidery, which I'm very happy about. You embroider using my patterns from my online store. Now there will be a transition to a playlist with my designs, which are digitized and are waiting for you in the store. In the description of each video in this playlist, there are the necessary links to buttons what you can purchase in my store. In the description on this video, I will also leave a lot of interesting and useful things for you, as always. And today I want to show the final moment, a fragment of work on a design of a non-standard shape, which will be an application for a certain product. The process itself represents the formation of a harmonious ornamental pattern. The palette was initially selected and agreed upon. The primary colors were chosen and a certain number of fragments needed to be made. This is the main idea, very briefly and schematically. I select shades for the main colors and choose a contrasting set of colors as well. In this case, in this project, it's terracotta and beige, as you can see. And the entire color concept of a design developed from these colors. As a contrasting color for the design, I choose emerald and its shades. I could call it green, but it's still emerald. By the way, let me know how many shades of colors you distinguish and which are your favorites. It should be noted what this is the second design in this project. I will show you right now. This fragment has already been embroidered, and here there was an opposite idea from the dominant beige color scheme to emerald accent, and in a similar concept but in a different size. By the way, this current design is being developed. Understanding about the different sizes is important because we cannot talk about an exact copy. This is a fantasy, a geometric abstraction on a given topic, and in my work I have already come to finish line, and why I always say what in my work the development of embroidery is unpredictable, because I fantasize right in the moment. I see concept, I see certain shades what they are developed by me initially in a triangle, and I will follow them, but what happens next depends on a number of circumstances, and in this case I decided to take light terracotta, this one. I used two shades of terracotta here. There are useful main ones, and these are basic as well, what I consider it, and they also went as a main ones to those cuts of fabric, which with which we should be harmonious in the future. So here no rules and just your own will to create. It's very cool to fantasize indeed. I personally grew up reading fairy tales. Oh, many fairy tales. All my home library. And communicating with nature, of course. And the language of symbols is very clear to me. Embroidery is a realization of creating potential as well as dynamic meditation. So I find a lot of similar things with meditation. Let's look a little bit closer again at how double cross performed. So I have already shown it, will repeat it again and again until the whole world begins to embroider using this wonderful hand embroidery technique. Just look how it's beautiful and simple at the same time. So you take thread and embroider the canvas with them. That's it. I myself, of course, know how to embroider in different techniques and also embroidered according to patterns. So when I started digitizing my design, I made patterns from the point of view of convenience for the embroidery. It was very important for me. Embroidering according to patterns is no less exciting, but it's more about developing a skill. Although I managed to refine the patterns and fantastically enlarge the final embroidered canvases, if possible with my author's elements, which you can also do with my patterns. I'm for any manifestation of creativity. You can change colors yourself and expand the composition. You know what? All my designs we on Etsy marketplace are universal, and you can not only combine them to decorate the interior, but also use them as a basis for making accessories. All lessons are on this channel, and this is another way to practice fine motor skills. And I also propose to give a new non-trivial life to embroideries, using them to create utilitarian fashion items. So what is not just embroidered wall hangings as usual, or for example in pillow, or you can make amazing accessories with your own hands. Here I'm again showing where I don't particularly bother about closing the inside out. Since it has a dense texture and embroidery with many threads, I don't particularly need to worry about how my thread will be hidden. After all, we are talking about cross on the cross. There are 4 intersections. So look again carefully. It's like cross on cross. Like 1, 2, 3, 4. It's simply impossible to break out of such a chain, isn't it? I have products that are over 10 years old. They are made using this technique, have been washed several times. They are worn not just for some events, but for use and accessories for everyday outings, bags, wallets, for example. We hold them in our hands many times every day. And as I already said, they are already decades old and still looks great. All this, of course, depends on quality of the thread. But I use only the best floss, and I know what it's natural thread, 100% cotton. This kind of thread doesn't shrink, doesn't fade. I mainly use DMC thread, and I'm very pleased with them because they're different manufacturers on the market, and at the time the shade may change, but I think what the shade goes off evenly and becomes less saturated, I guess. although I recommend choosing the best one right away. And I also remind you what right now the embroidery is carried out in 4 threads, like 4, 4, 4, 4, like one cross, one cross. So this is not just a one by one cross, and it's very clear what it's not a simple cross. Of course, if we are talking about simple cross, it can be worn over time and a hole will form and it will need to be restored. Then, if we are talking about a double cross, then of course the cross will remain despite many years. This is a long-lasting theme, and if you are planning to make an accessory, then the double cross is the ideal technique. Let me also remind you what I usually embroider with all 6 thread and sometimes even these 8. And I really like this texture a la tapestry. A really dense fabric, what does not tear down. An antenna product. Such a product can still be passed on to descendants. It's very tempting, isn't it? Well, let's back to fantasy. Look at the remaining piece, and here you will need to symmetrically select colors and elements and arrange them harmoniously, like really harmoniously. Well, I will use similar logic as in the previously embroidered applique, so that all the embroideries together look organic and can be part of related clothing sets. Another pattern than the logic at the same, but by the way, here suggests what instead of stretching and embroidering there, it's easier to turn it over and embroider here. Here it's more convenient to grab the canvas and hold it like this. Fasten the thread. No secret stitches needed, please. Just be yourself. Like this. Very simple. Oops. Sorry, it didn't work out. I will hold it a little like this. That's all. There will be a little tails everywhere here. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Beauty is respected and the grip is perfect, and you are not particularly worried about the appearance on the reverse side. So we pass the thread to the front side and make the first stitch like this way, like this, like a first. I want first one diagonal, and like this. Yes, this time it goes like this, and embroider here like this. That's very simple, very easy, so fun, and very quickly embroider a double cross. One, and I'm gonna make second one. So of course from here they can magically speed up a little bit, so it's not to watch in real time. So here you have fantasy magic and your own creative world. But you know, it's better to take the canvas and embroider along with me, just right now. I know what you really like, to watch the embroidery process itself, so I'm not lazy. especially for you, and periodically record the process. Although, of course, embroidery is an intimate process, and sometimes it's not what I don't want to make a video, but just become so immersed in the process what I simply forget and think post factum. Like, it would be cool to make a video, show it to people uh, when I already embroidered some kind of element, something interesting, something what's gonna be interesting to share with you. And I always want to do this and work with pleasure. So when it happened, like I forget something to record it for you. Uh, so nothing. It's like no big deal. So next time. And fortunately, next time comes very quickly. I always, as I said, want to do this and work with uh, real pleasure. Something can always be implemented what you didn't finish once. This is basically the concept of creative life, I think. You always finishing something. And in this desire to improve, in my opinion, lies the true beauty and attractiveness of life. Well, what was conceived is embroidered on this piece of canvas. You see a piece made here and there, and now I will do same on a mirrored piece as soon. So the rest of elements will be embroidered repetitively, and I will show you how the ornament will look in its final form, and you will see that fantasizing is really very cool. There are no rules, and it's so amazing and beautiful. There can be a million options. You can always get some new cross, and everything will look completely different, just like a spark. And this is so amazing, so mesmerizing. And this piece is embroidered, and I'm showing it as I promised. Both pieces are embroidered actually, both with one and with one. They are mirror images for a new project, a new idea. My light changes periodically, and I don't want to particularly correct the image with filters. I want everything to be as honest as possible, and in addition to technique, realistic display of colors is important to me. I want to convey colors as faithfully as possible. I think filters are unacceptable in this kind of video. Sometimes I can turn up the brightness just because I live in the tropics and have very short daylight hours. It will be sunset soon for me, and everything is fade now. I embroidered all day. Here it would seem that very small fragments needed to be completed, but the work took quite a long time because it's a hand embroidery. The color might change also over the course of one video sometimes because I edit from recordings from different time periods. But I believe that this is not a defect, but on the contrary, a real, pure, realistic refraction, which is rarely seen now among the billions passed through the filters what's around us everywhere now. There are a lot of awkward, unrealistic formats of images, and people and creativity as well. So I try to adhere to the classical canons in always while doing modern original embroidery, and it turned out quite nice, isn't it? As I said, I wanted to show this video what fantasizing is incredibly cool. This is phenomenal embroidery, and you will never be disappointed. This is an amazing activity. This is an amazing, incredible pastime what will free you from the need to immerse yourself in unnecessary things and allow you to be alone with yourself, learn something new about yourself, and spend more quality time. So let's take another closer look at the embroidery terracotta piece. It turned out lovely. A little bit closer. Here I wanted the most geometric shapes to be as simple, neat, and fulfilling utilitarian task as possible. And I think I was completely successful. It's turned out really cute. Now just let's compare it with the previous sample, which was embroidered in the same concept, but with an emphasis of on light shades. Less terracotta, as you can see, more beige. The same simple, fascinating geometry, hypnotic effect, and interesting result. Well, see you soon on this channel. Be with me and unique embroidery.